Hello everybody and welcome back to How to Thaumcraft with the Hittite. And today we're going to talk about dangers and dangerous things and all the things that make this game fun because they're dangerous. Danger! Anyway, starting off, I talked about warp a little bit when I did that abomination that was my research video. But there's a few things that warp causes that is not supposed to be in my hand. Why is it in my hand? NEI seems to be messing up. Anyway, warp can cause a few dangers. Warp is it's the warping of your mind due to the forbidden magics that you're dealing with. So, after a while, certain warp effects start to show up. They're usually shown by a heartbeat sound in your ears and the corners of the screen darkening, as well as some purple text on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Now, most of the time it's something harmless, like it'll just be trying to make you paranoid, like something's behind you or what's that noise? Sometimes you'll get free aspects out of it, but sometimes it's something a little more dangerous. Now, the first dangerous one is called Sunscorned. In addition to the purple text, you get a washed out filter on everything, so everything looks really bright and glaring. What this does is it lights you on fire if you're in direct sunlight. It doesn't last forever, but it's a few minutes, and it's kind of dangerous if you're out in the open field. The second one is called Unnatural Hunger. It's accompanied by a red tint to the screen, and your hunger bar will drop really, really fast, and you can die fast if you're not paying attention. And you can't regain hunger normally with normal food. You have to eat rotten flesh or zombie brains. And usually those are really bad for you, but there's no negative effects, and it shortens the unnatural hunger effect. The last dangerous warp effect is accompanied by the message, "A thick fog appears from nowhere. Something stirs in its depths." What that does is it spawns an eldritch guardian. These are basically mini-bosses. They've got powerful projectile attacks, and they are very dangerous. They aren't quite boss level, but very dangerous all the same. Usually they're accompanied by a thick fog, like... Hold on. It looks like someone... Hold on, I'm not going to do that because I'd have to render everything, but it looks like someone turned down the render distance on your game down to 1. So... fog everywhere, Eldritch Guardian, prepare for a fight. Now, some of the nodes can actually be really dangerous too. Hop into the air here and fly across the water to where I set up some of the dangerous nodes. First dangerous node is called a Sinister node, and of the three, it's easily the most common. You can tell it from a distance because it's got this black hole kind of look. It's not actually dangerous to be close to it on its own. What is dangerous about it is that what it spawns in. This little guy. The Furious Zombie. As you can see, it's got a ton of health, and it hits like a truck, unlike a normal zombie. Oh dear. Okay. Just a creeper dying. Anyway, Furious Zombie. When you hit a Furious Zombie, it grows larger and stronger. Oh, one thing I do need to mention, and I'll have to step out of my game for this, but these 3 nodes are only dangerous if you go into the mods. Go down here to Thaumcraft and go to the config files. What you're looking for is hard mode nodes turned to true. It's defaulted to false. Now, why would you turn on hard mode nodes if it's defaulted to false? Well, there can be some benefits. For instance, the Sinister node acts as a spawner for these Furious Zombies. and they drop a lot of rotten flesh and zombie brains and all sorts of goodies. And there's actually a way to move around aura nodes, a little later that I'll get into eventually. And so you can set up a grinder. You can also tell Sinister nodes a lot of times because they're usually surrounded by obsidian totems like these, although usually connected to them. There's another reason that Sinister nodes can be dangerous. If sometimes they spawn with around obelisks, eldritch obelisks, which speed this up. Here we go. The eldritch obelisk. Now, there's nothing really around this, and the obelisk is important for end-game Thaumcraft. For one thing, because it's how you open up the final area, but also because it spawns in Crimson Clerics. Well, they spawn in around them sometimes, not all the time. They're interesting, and also usually there's about 4 of them all the way around. Yeah, they're creepy. Anyway, there's 4 of them around, 4 Crimson Clerics around it, and the longer they stay there, the more Crimson Knights they spawn in. These guys are kind of dangerous, but if you keep your distance, you shouldn't have a problem. But you will have to fight them to unlock the final area, because the clerics have a rare drop called the Crimson Rites, which you have to read. Heading back to the nodes. The second dangerous type of node is called a hungry node, and it's the most immediately dangerous if you get close to it. Now you'll notice this great big crater around it. That's because it ate it. The ground and everything around it. Hold on, I'm going to turn particles on. Particles. Done. You can see the little particle effects swarming into it as it eats the surrounding area. Now, these ones are really dangerous. Turning off particles again because my frame rate lags. Anyway, these ones are really dangerous because they actually have a suction effect. It doesn't affect me because I'm in creative, but let's show what happens if you drop a pig here. Uh-oh. So much for that test piglet. It'll suck any living thing in and slowly damage it until it dies, and then eat anything it's carrying. So if you just, sort of wandering along, get sucked in, die, and lose all of your stuff. Not fun. These, however, are very useful, and I'll explain in more detail why, but the short version is that whatever they eat, they gain aspects from. So eating a whole bunch of dirt and rock gives it a whole bunch of terra, and it was huge to start with because I spawned it in that way. But again, we'll get into those when I talk about energized nodes. This one is it's much less dangerous personally, but what is dangerous is what it does. This is a Tainted node. And what it does is it taints the ground around it, turning it into Taint biome. And Taint biomes are incredibly dangerous. Like, just walking around, the ground is trying to kill me. Right now. Little taint tendrils popping up to kill me. Even aside from tentacles and sometimes giant tentacles that pop up. Any mobs that die in a taint biome reanimate as tainted versions of themselves, which are always murderous and seem to wind up in the hole here. Now this is my own personal containment area, and it's completely surrounded by ethereal blooms which keep the taint biome from spreading around the tainted node, and these paving stones of warding which keep mobs from wandering out. This is, well, let's say it's a little impractical for most play times, and it doesn't really showcase just how dangerous an actual tainted biome is. So, for that, we're going to go to a naturally occurring taint biome. While we're flying, taint biomes show up around tainted nodes. They're naturally occurring, and they can show up if you leave flux sitting out too long. Which, there's also some warp effects that make flux randomly appear around you, so it's not fun. If your base winds up being near a taint biome, it's much easier to move your base than to try to wrangle the biome or fight it back. Here we go. You can tell a taint biome from a distance because everything is purple. Really purple. Oh, another thing. Any node that's in a tainted biome will turn into a tainted node. So this was once probably a Sinister node. It's a tainted node now. And now it's spreading it. There's also some unique, in addition to the tainted versions of normal enemies, there's also some unique enemies that show up in taint biomes. This is a swarmer spawner. It'll send out swarms. Let's see if they'll attack Mr. Piggy here. No? Yeah, well, it was worth a shot. I really don't want to turn off creative mode because I don't want to have to fight them or run away from them. Basically, if you're near a taint biome and you hear a thrumming, fluttering sound, just run. Just run. It's not worth it. Because you can see them, the little swarmy purple things around there. They're all over the place. Hold on a second. I'm going to find another... I know there's some taint spores around here somewhere. They're not nearly as dangerous as swarm spawners. But they are dangerous in their own right. Yeah. Another thing about taint biomes. They spread. Not really all that fast, but they will spread. Slowly. Oh. That one seems to be drowning. Good for it. Yeah, the swarm spawner is its own entity. You can shoot it with bows from a distance, but it's much better to just avoid taint biomes altogether. Normal mobs that stand on fibrous taint will slowly take damage, and when they die, they're reanimated. Taint is bad, okay? Oh, yep, here we go. Sheep died here, and now it's a tainted sheep. They're actually some of the most dangerous ones. They don't do a whole lot of damage, but they can wander out of the taint biome, and every time they graze, they leave taint behind. It's not nice. You can hear the slight squishing, squiggling sound as it tries to kill you, and as it grows. And here's one. Here's a good example. This tree trunk is slowly turning into crusted taint. Hopefully this isn't too boring, but this is not a nice place to be. And I keep looking around for taint spores. Hold on. I know they're around here somewhere. Let's try that. Off to my left a bit. Nope, that's a swarmer spawner. That's a tainted node. Spawner. Here we go. Taint spore. Not any health, but when you get close to it, it pops. Oh, it didn't spawn any taint crawlers. Hold on a second, I'll show you. Taint crawler. Oh, and I forgot to mention the tainticle. I mean, you saw it, but tainted crawler. Little nasty spider things. Not much damage, but they come in swarms. And the tainticle. Not nice. And it sends tendrils out if you get close to it. A lot of health too. I think it's trying to kill me, even though I'm in creative mode. Anyway, that's Taint biomes. Do not build your house here. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope that was informative, and I hope you'll be less likely to die playing Thaumcraft now. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you all for watching.